Hello everybody, it's Sarah, and today, or I guess not just today, but in the next week, I'm gonna try my hand at another vlog, and that vlog is gonna be a spoiler-filled vlog of The Burning God by R.F. Kuang. Because I thought the thing I want to do is, I will of course, as always, have a spoiler-free review of the third book in the Poppy War series, but I thought that, since I have such contrary opinions on the series as a whole, it might be interesting to this time see my live reactions while reading it, and then if there's anything I feel like that's left to say, I am going to do a post reading the entire Poppy War series, looking back at the series and my thoughts after it being completed. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna start this today and I'm probably going to read it over the next week to 10 days. So yeah, I'll see you once I have started it and read a bit of it and have my first thoughts, obviously. So I have now read up to chapter 6 and about 110 pages of The Burning God. I am at the point where the citizens, the civilians of Leyang kind of sacrificed themselves when Rin was ambushed and when her troops were kind of put before a choice. And I gotta say, I enjoy The Burning God so far a lot more than I enjoyed the Dragon Republic. I did of course talk in my first review of the Poppy War that I did enjoy the first part of that first book, and then when it came to the second book in my review I did say that I enjoyed it a lot less. However, now I suspect that part of the reason, even back then I suspected that maybe at the beginning at least, part of the reason might have been that there was still kind of this boiling pit of rage for the ending of the Poppy War, which is why I couldn't enjoy especially the beginning of the Dragon Republic. But I have mellowed out on my opinions of the Poppy War, of course. I mean, I still hold very strong opinions and very strong negative opinions about the Poppy War especially, but I'm a lot more, I don't know, not apologetic isn't the way, but just, you know, I have contrary opinions on the Poppy War, let's say it like that. And so I think that maybe gives me also the ability to be a lot more open towards the writing of the beginning of The Burning God so far. But I still also think that R.F. Kuang's writing improved, because it already had improved a lot between the Poppy War and the Dragon Republic. And so I think she just learns a lot with each book. So my thoughts so far on the book are, I first thought I might be warming up to Rin and finally might enjoy her as a character, but nope, I don't like her. I don't like her type of stubborn character at all. They just annoy me. I don't like characters that act like they're know-it-alls and then to themselves they admit that they don't know anything actually, but that can still not take any advice from other characters. I really don't like the way she reacted towards Suji when he first... Soji or Suji? I don't know, one or the other. The way she reacted towards him when he first gave her advice and told her that, yeah, you might know a lot about classical warfare, but you don't know how to do guerrilla tactics, I guess, is what they are. So yeah, I didn't like the way she reacted there, even though 5 minutes earlier she admitted that she has no idea what she's doing actually, which is why, why do you want an army and are angry at stupid people, bigoted people who are definitely bigoted, telling you that you don't have any experience, when then 10 minutes later you admit you don't have any experience. What was the point even? So yeah, there's that, and I still get her motivation. I know where her instincts come from, because a lot of times when we're confronted with something that we don't know, and if someone tells us, hey, you don't know shit about this, listen to me, a lot of people's first instinct is to, not take advice. But yeah, then also I'm very happy so far with how the framing of the Muganese changed in this book. I talked about it a lot in my second Puppy War video and my problems I have with the Puppy War, which I will leave linked down below and up there. That one of my biggest problems was the way the Muganese were framed in the first book, in the Puppy War, and the way they were framed as monsters, which of course they absolutely are horrible people who have done horrible things. But, you know, and I won't go into detail again now, but I wasn't a fan of how they were almost mystified, and like that made their monstrous actions of monsters and not actions of humans. And I had a lot of comments on that video telling me, yeah, but that's because the book is written from Rin's perspective, and of course Rin sees them as monsters, and of course we can't have like nuance to the characters, although nuance kind of implies that I want there to be like a secret good side to them, and I want them to be like, you know, morally grey characters and not just morally black characters, which isn't what I want. But anyway, I hope I'm gonna make sense by the end, but I got a lot of comments that the reason there was no nuance to the characters was that they were just simply written from the point of view of Rin. However, I still felt that the way they were written without nuance then kind of, I don't know, made Rin's actions almost maybe a little bit heroic. Not directly heroic, but it excused those actions. And I love that especially in this book we get to see a lot more nuance with the Muganese characters, and not necessarily in a way that makes them sympathetic to us, but just in a way that shows you, you know, they're still humans. They're horrible humans. The Nazis were horrible, and believe me, I know they're horrible. I'm from Austria. I learned about them for 4 years of my high school experience, but they were also humans. And they weren't monsters. They did monstrous things, but they weren't monsters. And in this book, we kind of get a demystification of the Muganese, of the portrayal and the framing of the Muganese, especially in the first scene where they appear. And we still have Rin, who absolutely has not changed the way she looks at the Muganese, and yet there still is a change of framing, so obviously it's possible to have both things, you know, to have them written from Rin's perspective, yet still for the reader have them framed a little bit differently than just the way Rin sees them. And so that's something that I already enjoy a lot more in this book. I also love Suji. He is amazing. I love his character. And I also am kind of really into how, you know, the framing of Rin's action also changed a lot, because I felt like so far Rin's actions were obviously horrible, but that wasn't really portrayed in the framing of the story, but just, you know, in the way we as humans with our, like, what's it called, socialization, would obviously react to these actions. But in this book, Rin's actions are a lot more obviously monstrous as well. And yeah, I really enjoy that, like the framing of her actions. And also I kind of love how she has started to embrace just her monstrosity. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's what had to change within the framing, that she stops being like goody two-shoes and just admits that what she does is kind of like not okay, but you know, it's fun for her anyway, so why should she change what she's doing? But yeah, so anyway, I'm so far enjoying this book a lot more, and I can see myself really loving this by the end, and that makes me really happy, because this is why I wanted to pick up the third book after all. This is why I read books, and it just kind of confirms to me that it wasn't for nothing that I stayed with the series and that I continued on, and that I kept my trust in R.F. Kuang even though I have absolutely hated the first two books. I don't think that finishing this book will like I don't know, make me revise my opinions on the first two books. I still don't think that a lot of things in those books are well executed, but I think it can definitely be a case where it's one of those series where the sum of the parts is a lot greater than the parts themselves, you know? Does that make sense? You know what I mean. But anyway, I will check in with you when I've read a bit further on in this book. I think I ended my last clip by saying that I like Suji. Well, that definitely changed. So yeah, that's been there, done that. Not gonna talk about him anymore. I mean, I think he's still an interesting character. I'm excited to see where R.F. Kuang goes with his character, but yeah, safe to say, not a fan anymore. Also, again, still not a fan of Rin. She's just... I don't know how to say it. I mean, I understand her as a character and I understand her motivations, but by the way, I'm about 200 pages in now and I'm just past where Rin got betrayed again and she's now on the way to the mountain thingy that I forgot the name of. But yeah, I feel like she gets betrayed an awful lot and I feel like she just doesn't learn. I feel like she develops and she changes as a character, but she doesn't learn. And I think that's the main thing what I just don't like about her. But on the other hand, I do enjoy that we get more POV chapters that aren't from Rin's perspective. Just the last chapter that I read was the second chapter that was from Daji's perspective, which by the way, that was some, I don't know, foresight shit that Rin suddenly knew the woman waiting in the hut for her is Daji. Like, what were the signs that it would be her? I mean, that was a big jump. That was pretty unrealistic to me. Also, not a fan that R.F. Kuang has done it for the second time, that she has put my least favorite trope in here. The trope of everyone thinks character is dead, but obviously they're not dead because their corpse was never found. And like, I mean, I was even more sure with Daji that she's not gonna be dead than I was with Neza in the first book. Like, zero surprise when he appeared in the second book, zero surprise that Daji appeared now. Can we please stop with that in fantasy? Like, please stop with that in fantasy. Stop fucking around with death. You lower your stakes. No one's gonna be surprised anymore if anyone reappears. I don't like that. But yeah, anyway, Rin was betrayed again. Why is she still surprised about that? I do not know. I have the assumption that maybe Venka was the one who betrayed her, because she was the one who was so overly sure and secure in the fact that Neza is still in the north, which obviously he wasn't. So yeah, gonna be interested to see how that plays out, if she was the one who betrayed Rin or not. And yeah, aside from that, I don't think I have that much more to say so far. I did really enjoy the scene with Venka and, you know, the women that were used by the soldiers, because it just, I don't know, I think that really is R.F. Kuang's strong point, just kind of showing that war isn't just glory and that there's a lot of horrifying stuff about war. And she does it in a way, like, aside from the one rape scene in the last book, in The Dragon God, where I felt it was just there to give Rin an excuse to kill that one Hesperian. But aside from that one rape scene, R.F. Kuang kind of is one of those authors where I feel like the gruesome stuff isn't just in there because it's grimdark and because you want to have it be gritty or something, but where it's there because it has to make a point, kind of. The book has to send a message and wants to send a message. And because of that, I actually don't mind the whole over much rape stuff that I usually don't like that much, especially in books written by men, because I feel usually the way it's done is that the rape is only there to motivate the male characters. But yeah, that's not the case in this one, I feel like, because she does show like the fallout on the characters. And yeah, so that's all I have to say for now. I will probably check back in if I have read 100 more pages. And yeah, for now, I'll see you later. So, welcome to my bed and to me sitting here all tired and stuff. And my shadow looks so weird because I have my like little desk lamp, tableside lamp over there. But anyway, I've read about 150 pages more. It took me a bit longer because I couldn't really read on the weekend. It's Monday now. What is it? 7th. That's the date. Anyway, I'm tired today. But yeah, I read around 140 pages more. I'm now on page 343. And the whole army thing just went over the pass and into Talk Dog province. And yeah, to be honest, I don't have that much to say right now. Just that, I mean, Rin is as she always is, and in a way I find it a bit more and more unbelievable just with how, like, I forgot the word, with how much energy she has, but not ruthless, but like, she seems like she doesn't think about anything, and she doesn't ever think about her actions. But wasn't it in the first book, maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but wasn't it in the first book one of the plot lines that Rin is like such a strategy genius, partly because she's so ruthless and everything, and that she would have gone like the strategy route if she hadn't joined Jiang. But yeah, I find that more and more unbelievable because for someone who supposedly is smart at strategy, she doesn't think about her actions ever or at all, or ever think about the consequences of her actions ever. That's what I actually mean. Not even on a moral level, but just on a consequences level. So yeah, that's just weird. And then also, I mean, I wanted to say it last time, I think, but I forgot. Maybe I wasn't at that point last time yet. But I'm gonna bet that, what is it, that Rin is the daughter of that Spieli general? What was her name? Hanelei, that was the name, I just found it. I'm just guessing that she might be Hanelei's daughter or something. I mean, she obviously has something to do with her. I feel like it's supposed to be some secret or something. But yeah, we're gonna see when the reveal comes if it's actually anything surprising or if it's just your general, usual fantasy plot device, something. So yeah, that's that. And yeah, I kind of just, to be honest, low-key loved the way Rin executed the monkey warlord, and Suji was just... that had style, you know? But yeah, that's also something that I was talking about with someone else about that I think one of the reasons why I enjoyed this book so much more is because the framing doesn't make me feel anymore like I should root for Rin and root for her to win, even though she's obviously a horrible person. But that it's just like, yeah, she's a horrible person, but that's who she is. And there's not really anyone to root for, to be honest, aside from maybe, you know, the people that aren't the characters of the book, like the peasants and stuff. But yeah, so I do enjoy it a bit more that, I don't know, in the second book and in the first book, there was this kind of woe is me energy around Rin that she still has, but the framing doesn't make it seem anymore, at least to me, like she deserves any pity from our part or something. I don't know. I can't properly explain it. It's just, I prefer the framing of everything overall in this story because I can just enjoy an evil character so much more if I feel like the author doesn't use the story to make us sympathize with the character, but if when we sympathize with the character, it's like on our own terms and not because of the framing of the story. And that's what I feel like happened in this third book, and now I don't feel like the story makes me want to root for Rin anymore, which I didn't want to from the very beginning. Not from the very beginning, but like from the first book. So it just now so much more seems just like the story of a villain. And that's okay, and she's still an interesting character and everything, but the story doesn't make me feel like it's framed around her as the good guy anymore, which so far I felt like it was. Maybe that makes more sense like that. But yeah, that's it, what I have to say so far, and I'll check in with you again later. Also, not sure if I mentioned it, but when I say I think Rin is Hanalai's daughter, I mean that she's her and Chiang's daughter. That's what I would assume. That's my theory so far. And yeah, we'll see if that pays off, but like, to be honest, if it follows the trope of the like mysterious heritage thing, that's probably what it will be. Sorry if my hair is a bit of a mess. I just came in from outside, and so now I have beanie hair, obviously, and also I need to wash my hair tomorrow. Oops. But anyway, I think the last time I checked in I was around page 340, now I'm around page 440, so I read 100 pages more again. And to be honest, the farther I get into the book, the less I have to say. Although I guess my check-ins are gonna get like more frequent once I get to the last 100 pages or so, 150 pages. But the thing I have to say for now is like, I find it very interesting. By the way, I'm at the point where Rin just managed to teach those 3 children shamanism. But anyway, the thing that I find so interesting about Rin is that I think she thinks she cares, and I think everyone else thinks she cares, but I just get the feeling she doesn't care at all, like on a personal level, for anyone, like at all. I'm not even sure she cares about her country, really. I mean, she kinda cares, but I'm not sure if she like cares on a selfless level in a way. I don't know if it makes sense. I don't know how to put that feeling I have into words. Maybe some of you will know what I mean, but yeah, just kind of weird. Also, I guess the trifecta is now dead. I'm not sure how dead they really are, but I guess we'll see. And yeah, so now we'll get to the final part of the book, the last 200 pages, and I'm excited, I gotta say. I'm excited to see how it ends. And also we just got the news today about the TV show, the possible TV adaptation of the Poppy War, and I gotta say I'm not sure how I feel about that. Not just because I have like mixed feelings on the Poppy War series in general, but I don't know. I'm not a fan of overly brutal shows, and I'm not sure if like a TV show, especially an American-made TV show, wouldn't like fall into the trap of making it brutal for the sake of it being brutal. And yeah, so not sure how I feel about the TV show, but I'm still excited to finish the series as a whole. So see you then, and I'll probably finish this book tomorrow. I'll read about 90 pages today and then about the last bit tomorrow, so whatever that is. But yeah, maybe you'll get another check-in today. We'll see. So I read the 100 pages I still wanted to read today. I'm now about at page 540, so I have about 70-80 pages left to read. And yeah, I'll stop here for tonight because I don't know, I want to read the last around 100 pages tomorrow and fresh and like in one go. I just finished like after day 1 hour long, kind of confused about what happened at the grotto. Rin for the first time ever showed any emotions about someone else's death. I mean, that's not true. Like the other shamans that died in the last book, she kind of showed a bit of emotion about that, but like who's not part of the psyche, I guess I should say. So that was a thing that happened, although she still seems to be getting over it quite quickly. I mean, like, Rin, like, if nothing else, Rin is a master at, like, you know, being able to, what's the word? I'm too tired. So I just sat here for a whole minute trying to remember the word, but I still can't remember it. She's a master at, like, finding reasons why something has to happen the way it happens and why she doesn't have to feel bad about it and like that whole stuff. That's what I mean. So yeah, that just happened, and honestly, I didn't really care. I hate it. It's like one of the things I really don't like. I don't like when authors like introduce characters where from the very beginning it's obvious that they're gonna die, because like, or that their only reason why they're there is so they're gonna die, because I end up just not caring at all when they die, because I'm just not emotionally invested from the very beginning, because I know they're gonna die probably like 2-3 chapters later. Sometimes I can see from the very beginning, from the beginning of a book, if the character is supposed to die, but then at least the character only dies at the end of the book and I can be kind of, you know, tricked into caring for them. But wasn't the case for the new shamans. I don't care at all. And I know it was supposed to be kind of emotional, but I don't care. I really don't. Maybe that makes me even more heartless than Rin is, but anyway. So yeah, I have about, I think I said 70-80 pages left to read, and I'll do that tomorrow, maybe in the morning, maybe later in the afternoon. So I'll definitely finish tomorrow though. My guess is that either Kitai or Neza or both of them are gonna die. I'm pretty sure Rin is gonna survive. But yeah, I also don't really know, I can't see it how this series is supposed to wrap up, because it kind of feels still open. It feels like one of those series that could go on indefinitely. And so yeah, I'm not sure yet how it's gonna be wrapped up, if it's gonna feel too quick for me or not, but I guess we'll see that tomorrow. And so yeah, also the scene with Neza, Kitai and Rin sitting together one last time in a truce was sweet, because I did really enjoy their dynamics and I did really enjoy their relationship. I do enjoy Neza's and Rin's relationship generally, because I do enjoy relationship dynamics in books that are based on two people just loving each other a lot in whatever way they loved each other, be that romantically, platonically, or as a family, and then ending up on different sides, because that's just always so heartbreaking. And it's especially heartbreaking when you know they're not gonna end up on the same side by the end, probably, or they're not gonna have the chance to properly make up again, I guess. So yeah, that's that. Now there's the last bit to read. I have 4 chapters left, and I'll see you tomorrow. So because I'm stupid, I deleted the clips that I filmed while finishing the last 70 pages or 80 pages of The Burning God. So now you can see me here 1 week or a bit more than a week after finishing the book. I still kind of know what I said while reading it, so I will try to like retroactively tell you what my thoughts were while reading the last 100 pages, and then also tell you my final thoughts on the Poppy War, not the Poppy War, the Burning God. So yeah, anyway, also I already like edited the other clips, so I can now say like I apparently once again forgot a very important detail while reading when I said that I thought either Neza or Kitai are gonna die, because I forgot, of course, that when Kitai dies, Rin dies as well. Although I think I just thought that they would find some way to, you know, separate them again. Then something that happened while reading the last 70 pages is, I don't remember why exactly, but I remember that I went on a 2-minute rant about how stupid Rin is. I think when she started like torching the airships of the Hesperians, because I was just like, girl, why are you doing this? I mean, I get you're paranoid and everything, but girl, please stop being so goddamn stupid. It's just, Rin is a very frustrating character to follow. Then something that I talked about a lot, that I remember talking about a lot while reading the last 70 pages, is the whole thing with who is Neza's spy, is Venka the spy, and whatever. And before Venka died, I said that I once again think either Venka is the spy or that Kitai maybe even is the spy. And we ended up not really getting a resolution, because, I mean, Rin came to the conclusion that Venka had to be the spy, but then Venka was shot, or she died for Rin. So was she the spy? Was anything confirmed? Was Kita the spy? And that's actually something that I had a lot of problems with within this book, is that I felt there was a lot of setup but without any payoff. But aside from this one, the like lacking payoffs didn't really lead to any plot holes. But yeah, I would have really enjoyed some type of payoff, because I think what we're supposed to be thinking is that Rin just thought Venka was the spy because she has gotten so paranoid, and that it's kind of the start of her spiraling into paranoia. But then again, if we go back to the very beginning, when she got that letter by Neza that suddenly appeared in her pack, I mean, there obviously already was a spy there at the very beginning, and that was kind of before even Venka came back to the south, which is why I thought that maybe Kitai was the one who might be the spy, who might be in contact with Neza. But yeah, I just thought that this whole spy business all wasn't really cleared up. And yeah, I wasn't a fan of that. Other things that weren't cleared up is what happened to Rin's brother. I mean, we know Neza got him, but what actually happened to him, we don't know. No resolution there. Then also, I feel like it was kind of halfway confirmed, but not really, that Hanalei is Rin's mother. So I just also felt that was kind of a setup without resolution at all. Then the whole thing with the Spearly Queen, when they were fighting in the, like, at the cliffs thingy, when they had the first confrontation with Neza, I thought that maybe there's gonna be, like, something resolved with why the Spearly Queen is there as a statue when she was the enemy of the Red Emperor. But yeah, that was also just set up without resolution, although I thought that that might be set up for a possible prequel story. I don't know. But yeah, I just felt like they're not big things, but they're just small things that kind of annoyed me a little bit. And then also something else, going back to my complaint about killing people off without killing them off, and this whole thing. And then I said that I didn't really think that the trifecta was dead. Like, I think I expressed some doubts in another clip, in an earlier clip. And I think that's kind of connected, because we've had 2 times so far in this series that we had characters killed, but their bodies were never found, and so they then appeared again, because of course they never really died. And for me, I gotta be honest, that same thing kind of happened when the trifecta was blown to bits, or when the mountain was blown to bits, because we didn't see their bodies, so who can really say if they're dead? Maybe they survived. And yeah, just wasn't really a fan of that. Also, even though I said earlier that I really enjoyed that we got some POVs from, what's her name, from Daji's point of view, I found that retrospectively those chapters were pretty unnecessary because they didn't really set anything up. I mean, you could have set up that there was a conflict that split the trifecta, which we kind of knew already, without having those chapters. These chapters added absolutely nothing to the story, aside from maybe the fact that, like, what the relationship between Daji and, like, what's his name? You know, the one who was asleep is, and, like, how he kind of had the other two under his thrall. But yeah, found them mostly pretty unnecessary. And so I think those were the things that I mainly talked about until the end. And then 10 pages off of the end, I remember talking to you one last time, starting a clip one last time, being really confused how this is supposed to end, because I absolutely cannot see this ending in any satisfying way, in any big conclusion to the story. And yeah, then Rin and Kitai died and Neza was the only one left, and I was a bit confused. I was like, I kind of like the ending, and I can see how this ending is gonna be really emotional to people who are, you know, emotionally invested in the story, which I personally wasn't because of the first two books and how I didn't like them. So I wasn't all that invested in the characters. But I also, like, wasn't sure if I liked the ending or not. And then I sat on the ending a few days, and I would recommend that to anyone who, like, still doesn't like the ending now, who has read it, to sit on the ending a few days. Because after a few days I noticed why I found the ending so unsatisfying, and I also noticed why I, in the end, like, now think that it's the perfect ending to the series. And I think the reason why a lot of people find it so unsatisfying and don't like it is because we're used within epic fantasy series to have those series be the story of defeating some great evil, for these series to be the story of a war, for these series to be the story of a country, of a world, whatever. When you think of the Stormlight Archive, of course you have Dalinar, you have Kaladin, you have Shallan, you have all these great characters, but it's really the story of defeating Odium. If you have the Wheel of Time, of course, Rand is the main character, and you have a lot of other amazing characters that play a big role, but the story is still the story of defeating the great evil. However, I think that the Poppy War is more of a series in the vein of the Kingkiller Chronicles, which I know there've like been some comparisons between the two series. There's not that much in common between the two series. There's some elements in the first books that are first book in the school setting that might be like compared, but generally I'm not comparing the two series. But what I mean with the Poppy War being in the same vein as like the Kingkiller Chronicles is that the Poppy War really is the story of just one person, and that person is Rin. And I do think that we're kind of, you know, lured into thinking of the story as the story of this war, first of the Poppy War with the Muganese, and then of the Civil War, and then of the war with the Hesperians. But really it's just Rin's story, and Rin's story couldn't have ended any other way. I mean, it could have ended with her at the very top, but really she's way too stupid. Just gotta be honest, she's way too stupid to like be anywhere at the top near anything. And so her dying, her giving up everything really was the only other way, because you know, you can't see a way, or I can't see a way for the story to end with her being defeated but still alive. I think then the story wouldn't be over. And so that's how I ended up now being really happy with how this story ended. And of course, it's very unsatisfying because the Hesperians weren't really defeated. The Nikara are pretty much, you know, like, they're fucked. I mean, they have been fucked and now they just still have it horribly. And yeah, but, you know, that's not what it was about. And I actually really enjoyed it because this, in a way, just is even more of a decolonialization of the narrative in fantasy than it could have been if R.F. Kuang had directly confronted the Hesperians, which of course are the colonializers. I hate this word. I hate this word so much. I swear I can only say this word because I have to say it so much in my bachelor's and now in my master's. But yeah, the first few years of anthropology were a struggle because I couldn't say the word colonial anyway, or colonialism. Anyway, the Hesperians are the colonializers, obviously, but I think because, like, usually the colonializers or the white people in fantasy are of course the good guys, and I think that by not even like focusing them as the bad guys, they only ever took a side role in being the like main antagonist. They weren't really who Rin was ever fighting against. I mean, they were, but only symbolically, because she was fighting against Neza in this book, and I just love that in terms of a decolonialization of narrative and fantasy. I don't know if it makes sense. Maybe I'm just gonna reread the entire Poppy War series and make a Let's Talk Culture in Fantasy just about the colonial narrative within the Poppy War, because like that's its strong point. I absolutely love that part of it. So that's the one part that I absolutely unapologetically love in the Poppy War. So yeah, I think that was all I wanted to say. I'm sad that Kitai had to die. I think he was pretty much the only like honestly good character within the Poppy War series. And yeah, with that said, if you have read The Burning God, tell me in the comments down below what your thoughts on it were. If you enjoyed this video, maybe think about giving me a thumbs up and also maybe subscribing. All the links to my social media are in the description box down below, so go and check those out. All the links to my book club of Queens, Witches and Valkyries, where I read one adult high fantasy book written by a woman per month, are also in the description box down below, so go and check those out as well. And I hope I'll see you soon. Bye!